Hey, this is Robert. I'm here with Chris Dreier. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Bob. How's it going?
Doing good, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. And today, Chris is going to continue with Clip Paint Studio demos. I think we're going to backtrack a little bit, right? And look at some of the tools and
Yeah, I think this
stuff.
just going to be kind of a light, simple one where we just kind of look at some of the tools and what they can do and can't do.
Okay.
I stick with inking, so there's going to be a lot of tools that you can use for painting. I don't really touch those. I'm not all that familiar with those. So if I skip over one that you're used to using and you're like, hey, what's the deal? It's because I don't use it for inking. That's why.
Okay. Well, we'll get over to your screen.
All right. Here we have page 7 of number 8, which is number 4, but don't worry, I'm not giving anything away.
Okay. All right.
So this is I've already started working on this page, but one thing I do that I think sometimes loses people is I just know all the shortcuts. So I'm just flying around, hitting the shortcuts, zooming out, picking a new tool, grabbing color. This is a good chance to show like what they are.
Okay.
And then I can also maybe tell you the shortcut keys, because that really does help you when you're moving along. So let's just start with this one over here. We're way over here. Let me see. Can I take this off and move it? No. We're just going to leave it over here for now.
Yeah.
It's your zoom tool. Right now it's on minus.
Okay.
And I don't know. See over here. Yeah, over here is the tool properties. You can hit that for scale up. You can tap and zoom, or you can hold it, push and hold it, and drag a box to an area you want to zoom
into. Okay.
Right. And then you go over here and you can do zoom out. But for shortcuts, if you have this tool selected, it tells you the shortcut key there. You can, if you have it selected, you can hold Alt. And right now it says minus, right? Mm-hmm. But with Alt held down, it becomes a plus. It can zoom in now.
Okay.
See? So that's helpful.
Yes.
One thing I always do for the zooming is if you hold down your space key and Alt, or your space key and Control, you'll either get plus or minus. So you don't have to go over to here, click this, and then come over here and click that. It's space key and then Alt or Control. I think Command on the Mac.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah. Computer's thinking about it.
Uh-oh.
It's getting old. It's okay, girl.
Thinking.
You'll be fine. Okay, so the next one is rotate. This is one thing that makes this program really great. We talked in a previous video about, brush strokes having, every artist has a natural stroke and direction, so it's good to be able to rotate the page. So the shortcut for this is it's the plus and minus key across the top, not on the number pad, but across the top of your keyboard. That'll rotate, and it goes in steps. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, but to be faster, it's if you hold the space key down and your shift, see how it becomes the rotate, and now you can rotate just like that. So you zoom in and you rotate and you do your inking. Now, here we're upside down and we want the page back to normal.
Yes.
Double tap the icon, and it brings it right back to 90 degrees normal. Or you can, when you're doing your rotating with if you're going to use the shortcuts of the space key and shift key, if you double tap or if you double click, it goes back as well.
Okay.
And oddly enough, if you're doing zoom with your space key and Alt or Control, you double tap and it'll zoom in and out really fast.
All right.
Right. Those are just 2 tools right there. Okay, we're done. See you guys.
All right, you're ready to digital ink.
I'm done. You can go. You can create the masterpiece. Okay.
Now,
Operation.
Earlier we discussed that basically the tools we're going to go over for are the ones that you're going to use digital inking.
Right.
Yeah,
Correct.
this program will also do penciling.
Yep.
And it will do coloring. I mean, it does all aspects, I guess,
It
lettering and
also does the
everything.
lettering too. Yeah, it's a
Right.
complete comic book producing machine.
Right.
Now, operation, I don't know why they call it that, but that is basically so I have my layers palette selected here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with this one selected, you can move it around. So it's called operation, but it's more like an object move tool.
Right.
Yeah. This one right here is, see, that also moves it as well. So I don't even know what the deal is with that.
And it's moving that layer.
It's moving only that layer, right?
That layer, right. Wow.
And then your selection tool, when you come over here, now we go on to the marquee tool, which is just a selection tool. And, once you click it over here, now I should probably say that I have my palettes over here on the right side because I'm left-handed. But this is interchangeable. You can drag this around and put it over here or over there. So you can customize these however you want. That's just where mine are. And if you can't find the sub-tool marquee palette, everything can be found under window. It's all in here.
Just turn them on.
Just click that, and you want to look at color history. Well, there's color history.
Okay.
Don't need that though. So
right.
But with your marquee, you've got different options. You can make a rectangle.
Okay.
You can make an ellipse. If you wanted a perfect circle, you have to hold shift down, and then it's always a perfect circle. Mm-hmm. And with this particular tool, I think not so much with the rectangle, but I have start from center, right? And adjust angle after you've fixed. So what that means is with this one, start from center is obvious, right? Mm-hmm. But adjust angle means this. Let's say I'm going to make an ellipse that goes onto a car, and I want to make sure I have it selected correctly. I made an ellipse, and then I still got my pen to the tablet. If I let go, now I can adjust that angle before I make the final selection. Okay. Right now, I'm just moving above the tablet.
Right
there.
Okay. One thing I'm being from Photoshop and not knowing Clip Paint very well is how that little menu appears on the artwork, and I guess it offers you additional task for what you just did.
Right. Usually, this will happen every time you make any kind of selection. You'll get this menu.
Okay.
So this one just deselects.
Okay.
This one will crop it, which I've never really used. I don't really know what that does.
Okay.
Oh, I see what it did. I don't like that.
No.
It cropped right to my selection.
Right.
Oh, okay. Well, that's new. Hey, we learned something new today.
There you go.
Okay, so then this one, invert selection. So that means that right now we have this selected. Right. If we do invert, we'll have everything outside selected, but this won't be anymore. Right. So you're just flipping around the selection. These two I use frequently. You can expand by how many pixels. So let's just say 15 so you can see it. Expansion type is, this is going to keep hard edges. If you have like a rectangle selected, it'll just be a bigger rectangle rather than smoothing the edges. And this will smooth the edges, which is good if you've got like an organic selection or an oval or something.
Okay. See
how big it got?
Right.
And then this one, exact opposite, shrink. So let's go back down to let me see, what else do we have here? That one just deletes. Deletes outside the selection. That's obvious. Everything outside gets deleted.
Right.
Cut and paste. That's pretty cool, right? Mm-hmm. Copy and paste. So anyone who may not be completely sure why there's two different ones, cut means it removes it, deletes it, and then it pastes it. This one will copy, leaving the original there, and then paste a new one. This one can scale. This one you can actually fill it, so it filled it with the color that I had first, which is this one right here, the foreground color.
Okay.
And tone. Remember Zipatone back in the day, Bob?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
But when you
Wow.
do that, it makes a whole new layer over here. It's pretty cool.
Like you actually put a piece of Zipatone on a piece
Right.
of
And then
acetate.
because it's got
Right.
its own, layer with a mask, what's happening
Uh-huh.
is the whole page is now this tone, but we're masking everything off but this,
Wow.
which means if you wanted to, you can continue to,
Wow.
color in stuff. And
Right.
that's really cool. That's for any old school user watching this right now.
And manga artists, they still use Zipatone.
They use that too. Yes,
They
right.
do. Now, what I
But-
like about this, go ahead.
Hold that thought. There's just so many different options in here. I always have mine set to circle, but
Mhm.
there's lines,
Wow.
carrots, stars, clovers, blue diamonds, green hearts, flowers, plums, noise. I use noise a lot for rocks and stone and dirt. But yeah, the lines are really neat. If you saw the cover to the Freaks and Gods Kickstarter, I used these lines to create that like television hologram look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is exactly how I did it. So yeah, this is something really cool to play with, right? So, but
Yeah,
that's where you get your tone from. You make a selection, you hit that, you adjust this, and if you as you adjust it, it shows you in here, what it'll
Right.
look like, which is helpful,
Yes.
So I'll have to play with that later. I'll cancel that. And then this one, selection launcher settings. That's new to me. What does that do? I've never seen this. I've never used it. That's for another day.
Yes. Well,
no, what are you going to ask, Bob?
What I liked about that is that many of those you can do in Photoshop, but you have to jump to different menus in different areas to get to the expansion and everything like that. Where this, through the menu right there on the screen,
right?
Do the selection, do what you want to do, and boom. It's made more for speed, it feels like.
It is, but the problem is you can't hide the selection like you can in Photoshop. But I think all of these down here, right underneath your selection, definitely makes up for the fact that you can't hide the selection.
Yeah,
it
seems.
But you're right. I was just doing some thumbnails this morning, and I wanted to expand my selection, and I was like, "Where is it? Oh crap, that's right. I gotta go up into selection, go down to modify, expand."
Yes.
But this is really nice.
Yeah, that is awesome.
This is your auto select. If you're familiar with full Photoshop, this does. Well, it just selects everything based on a region or color, or in this particular case, it's going to select. Since I'm on the ink layer, if I turn off the pencils, it looks like there's white underneath, but that's actually not. There's nothing underneath. So the auto select selected everything that had no fill that was connected.
Okay.
Because I have this apply to connected pixels only.
Right.
If I turn this off, it will select every single open pixel.
Oh, wow.
Right. So if I did it with black or any color, really, it'll select all of that color. And the way, like if you're doing color flats, you got to have those lines crisp and clean, right, between the different figures. And before you get into the shading, blue is blue and orange is orange. So you want to be able to, if you need to select all of your heroes or your main character's shirt from the whole page, you can do it this way. But be careful, because color margin is where you adjust the difference between that specific number, that number for that color, or a range of color. So it's like light blue to dark blue, just like in Photoshop.
Right.
But since I do everything I do is comic books in here, and even when I color, I don't really do painting. When I color, I go for that cell style, flat color, one highlight, maybe one shadow, maybe two. So everything is always it's that color or this color. So I don't really play with the margins. I put it to 0 and I've left it.
Right.
Yeah. So
very nice.
And this tool is the eyedropper. This is cool. I forgot to say, the shortcut for your marquee. It tells you right there, M. That's your shortcut.
Okay.
But remember, if you want the rectangle and you hit M, it's going to be on the last tool you used. So then you got to come over here and switch it.
Right.
So the eyedropper basically selects that color that you want to pick from the canvas, right? Which is really nice. But let's say I had a color. Let me turn all this back on now so I can demonstrate this better. Turn on the paper. I'll turn on, I passed my pencils, didn't I? There they are. Turn on the pencils. Okay, so I'm on the ink layer, right?
Right.
Let's say I want this gray color over here. Actually, let me go right here because it's in the center of the screen. I want that gray color. Now, right now, down here, the blue is highlighted. Oh, are we covering? No, we're not covering that, are we, Bob? No. Right now, the blue is highlighting the black. So that's the color that we're on.
Right.
So if I select here, I'm going to get gray, right?
Okay.
No. It took the empty area because it's only going to select the color of the layer that you're on.
Right.
Yeah, that can get frustrating if you don't remember that.
Right.
Because with Photoshop, you can select that color. You can have 65 layers, and if that eyedropper is right above that color you want, 65 layers down, you're going to get that you're going to get that color.
Get the color, right?
Right. This one you got to be on that layer. So
which is a bonus, really. It allows
I haven't goofed up,
right?
Color wise. Let me see. Okay, so this is pen, so it's P, and let me get a color. Shortcut time. Alt, when you have a tool like a pen or a brush or a pencil selected, and you just push down Alt, your tool becomes an eyedropper.
Oh.
So you don't have to change tools. It's meant to be efficient. Then you don't gotta keep coming back over to here or over to here. So okay, so now we're on to the pen. And I've got tons of pens. Some of them I've made. Some I'm still working on. I'm trying to figure out how to make a hair feathering brush so that with one stroke I get several featherings of hair. Haven't quite figured it out yet. I'm still working on that.
Okay.
But you got your brush, G pen. I made this crow quill, the turn-up pen. We talked about that in the previous. But this is where they all are. Some of them, like I said, I've made. Inking brush I made. Texture brush. If you got that old, you got that old brush you just don't want to get rid of.
Yes. A little rough, but you still want it.
I have what's called a real G pen, but I don't really know how real it is.
Looks real. Yeah.
And then right here, I wasn't sure about my settings. I called this brush 2 real with a question mark. Sometimes if you want to make a new brush, you just, like right now, I'm highlighted on brush 2. If you click on the plus, it tells you what it does if you hover. Creates a copy of current selected brush, and then you can rename it and kind of play with it. Some of these are ones I did. I made a tree brush.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Gotta be careful with that because if you use it too much, it just. So yeah, this is where all your tools. These are where all your pens are, even though a brush is in here. And with marker, you get like a basic felt tip and this Milla pen. I'm not familiar what that is. It might be a manga type pen, but it does have this.
A little bit of a fat at the beginning, like you just touched it, and there was a little bit of bleed, and then you pulled your line.
Exactly. Yes. Right. So that is that's cool when it's smaller, but I have it large to demonstrate,
Yeah, no, that's
give you a really cool,
so much ink on the tip of the pen that when you first touch it, you get just a little blob, and then you just pull it, you get your fine line.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Wow, that is cool.
The
fact that they can duplicate it.
I don't know what a Philomano pen is. Looks like a pen.
It looks like a pen, maybe real clean, like on a piece
use
of
the felt
tape.
tip pen. I use the felt tip pen frequently. And the beauty of this we talked about in previous videos, and I'll just quickly go over this. Any of these brushes, I call them brushes, any of these pens in here or in your marker or any of the ones you ever pick, when you have your tool property open, again, you can find it in here. You click on that wrench and you get these options where you can change brush size right now for this, because it's meant to be a felt tip pen. There's
Right.
no pen pressure sensitivity to it.
Right.
But then you can do that. Now, remember those micron pens?
Yes.
I used to use those all the time. I used to use them all the time. If you push them hard enough, you get a little bit of a thin to thick, but not a lot, because you don't want
Right.
to ruin the pen. You
Right.
know, with this, you could actually create that just a little bit.
Okay.
See, so the minimum size of this value for this pen pressure is at 47. So you still get the felt, you still get the pen feel, but there's a little bit of variation.
Yeah, what's feathering, starting and feathering.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really nice. Again, any of these tools, if you leave this sub tool details open and you click on them, it gives it just automatically goes right to it. So this is something I know we talked about a little bit greater detail in a previous video, but definitely the best way to learn this is exactly what I've been doing, and that's just opening things up, adjusting, moving them around, seeing what it does. And then once you understand, then it makes more sense for all these other, options. But I am going to say this because it drove me crazy. Correction. Okay? This used to be called something else, but now it's called taper. These brushes this default brush came with a taper of 50. And when you draw a line, I'm going to lift up, and you'll see how the line just continues to go. See, I lift up. Right. I lift it up like right about there. Oh, see that?
Yeah.
But when you turn that taper off, the line stops when you lift up when you lift it up. And right. That got me. I couldn't figure that out for months.
So it's like a continuation of your line.
Right. Wow. Like if you got like a really long bristled brush that you're just kind of dragging out and you lift it up slowly. For me, that's not good for
no.
I have no control. So yeah. Right. Again, just open this up and play with these settings. Oh wait, I was going to turn that off. Did I turn the yeah, I got to turn the felt tip one off. That's going to confuse the crap out of me if I don't do that. Yeah, but that's the pen. And then the same thing with pencil. I know a lot of people think you can also pencil in here. It's not going to work because in my layer that I have for inks, I have a layer property panel open. You can find that in here if you don't have it open. And I have this layer set to monochrome. And we've talked about this before. So the pixel is either white or black.
Right.
There's nothing in between.
There's no graying.
There's no gray. So that's why you're not going to get that. But if we go to a pencil layer, like this one, with this pencil picked, looks like a pencil. And they have all different kinds, like a lighter pencil. But they even have a nice mechanical pencil. I have them really huge, but
Right.
Oh, so, and you can see the line back here. It looks like his.
Right. Yeah.
And they got they also got, now this is cool if you're doing texture for coloring. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that great? And they got colored pencils and tapered pencil.
Yeah.
Wow. Ooh, I like that. I haven't really used that one.
Texture. Yeah.
All right. I gotta delete these because like tonight when I go to ink, I'll be like, what the heck?
Yeah, what was he thinking?
What was Giuseppe thinking, that crazy guy? All right. And again, with the pencils, you've got the pastels. So if you're going to be doing painting or coloring, these are really cool too. Again, you can adjust their settings. Over here, you've got, this is where they call brush, right? Right. Now, over in here, the shortcut is B. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But if you keep hitting B, it scrolls through a couple of different settings within this brush. So right off the bat, you've got watercolor. You know what? I should have turned that off. I should have left that open and we could have played there. We got like a watercolor setting. Let's see what this one does. That's nice. It blends. Okay. And then you got oil pastel.
Oh yeah,
You got
like the
India
canvas
ink,
texture.
right?
Yeah.
What is this? Realistic watercolor brush. Ooh, it even has the canvas
Bring
in
it
there.
the
That's
canvas,
nice.
the paper. Yeah.
Nice. That's nice.
That is
Like we said in the beginning, I don't paint. I do your cell flat coloring, and I 90% of the time am just doing inking. So I don't really use or play with a lot of these. Sometimes I've grabbed one of these because I want a texture in the color somewhere in a background, and that's like totally limited in my use. And you hit B again, and then you get airbrush options,
okay.
which is nice.
Yeah.
And then hit B again, and this is where I have a lot of my different tools that I've created that are also a part of it. Some of these came with the software, and some I've actually adjusted or created myself.
Uh-huh.
Like here's tone scraping, but I put a different I put a different tool in there. That's not right. So in ruled, I have a lot of ones I've made too. Here's one that I made. For this particular issue, I'm inking actually because they're on a dead planet. So I made a vine tool.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a second vine that I also made that goes in here. Where is that? Brush shape, brush tip. And then you can go over here and search for vine. When you make these, you get, hope that's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then it has the white so it can go over things.
Right.
And then if you want, which I do, because when you try to color, there's nothing, you can't color that. Anything underneath it will be, you won't see it.
Right.
So
Right.
you have to select your transparency and then fill everything. So I'm clicking the actual color white in there and it removes it.
Yeah.
Since I don't have any other white here, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like it's behind it now, but it's actually still empty. See?
Mm-hmm. Yep. You can see through it.
That's a cool brush. But yeah, these are the kind of things you can learn later. I guess I should be getting ahead of myself. All right, so so these are all the ones that we just looked through when you're hitting B.
Right.
This is what you're scrolling through. Are these here? Airbrush, decorative, eraser. Okay, the eraser. This is important. I don't have anything. There we go. For some reason, it's not giving me any option to change this. Oh, that's because I'm on this.
On a different layer.
Yeah, I'm on the layer that's monochrome.
Right.
So it's going to always be either black or white. So there's no fuzziness to it. But for some reason, I can't undo this. My machine is causing me some headaches here. There we go. But you can see the different kinds of erasers you can have. I should note that you can ink vector, but I've never used it. I've never tried because I've said in a previous video that when I tried inking vector with Illustrator, I ended up literally moving every single line because you could. So this is more like just to keep me in line, to keep it as traditional as I can.
Okay.
But yeah, if you're like going to erase pencils, you can use a soft brush. Let me actually try that. See? And this is also based on, this is a light touch. Mm-hmm. And I'm pushing down harder. So
okay.
The eraser can also be pressure sensitive. Okay. Copy stamp. You know what? I've never used it, but I can tell you what it is. It's your cloning tool.
Yes.
So I've never used it. Okay, so this is where sometimes I get confused in the beginning. There's fill, gradient, and contour fill paint. I've never used that. I hate to admit this. I'm supposed to know what I'm talking about, but I'm not 100% sure what that does. Because when I've accidentally selected it, it never does anything.
Oh, okay.
But you always want to use, if you're going to do black and white like this, or you want to fill in a solid color flat area for color flats, it's G is the shortcut. But if you keep hitting G, you'll see I'm hitting G. It scrolls through all three of them.
Yeah.
Right. And the problem is that when you're using a different tool like the pen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to go to fill, and you hit G, the first one it goes to is like the gradient.
Right.
So keep that in mind. So
Okay.
the fill tool, let me take some black and I'll just show you. Let me get off the pencil layer quickly, and then we'll go to inks. Okay, so I have, I picked the wrong color. So I have that,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have that. So the fill, right now, I have it apply to connected pixels only, and it's unchecked. So this is the exact same thing as when you're making a selection with the magic wand.
Right.
It'll select, this will fill the entire canvas black because it has nothing to confine it. By checking that, it'll fill just that area.
Okay.
Now, right now I have that gap right there, and it'll fill the area and it'll leak out and keep going until it's done.
Right.
Which will be probably most of my canvas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But remember that one video I said I didn't know why it wouldn't fill all the way? It's your close gap. Set the width of gaps to be treated as closed. So if I'm just going to go crazy with that. I think it now will think that this is a closed gap. Oh, yep, it does.
Yes. Wow.
We both learned something.
Wow.
So did you.
Yeah.
So yeah. And the gradient only works if you're on like a different layer type, color and gray. Any of those, the gradient will work. Monochrome, it can't work because it's either black or white.
Right.
Yeah. So it doesn't fill like a zipatone dots. It just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, figure. The figure is really fun. That is U for the shortcut.
Okay.
Figure, let me go to the tool sub figure here. Okay, so you got all these different tools in here. And within this tool, you got more tools. We got direct, frame. This is where you make your frame for your comic books. Rulers, saturation, which actually is like speed lines and energy bursts and stuff like that for like a manga look. And the stream also has that look too. I've actually made rain with it. Let me see if it still works. I don't know. I guess not. Okay, so in the direct, you've got a straight line, a curved line, a polygon, and a continuous curve. And you've also got rectangles, ellipses, polygons, and then some of these I've made myself, like thought balloons. I didn't like the thought balloons that came with the software, so I made my own.
It's like the tail of a thought balloon.
Right, yeah. I didn't like how their tail was, so I made my own. So straight line, click, hold, and then release.
Right.
Curve, click, hold, however far you want it. And when you release, you now get the option to do a curve.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Yes.
Polygon is you click and you just keep clicking. And if you go back to here, it'll close it. If you don't want it closed, you have to like hit enter and it finishes it. Continuous curve is pretty cool. This one is like the polygon, but as it says, it's a continuous curve. But what's really neat is I think it's Alt. Come up here and you hit Alt. See how that N turns into that? Okay, do you see the plus sign?
Yes.
See, now if I hit Alt, it turns into that weird like a corner thing. You click it and it turns one into a sharp turn instead of a. So I've actually used this more than the polygon because I can get the polygon look by just holding down Alt. Let's see, I selected nothing. So you hold down the Alt while using your continuous curve, you get the polygon look. Right. And then you let go of Alt, and then you get curves. So that's a nice little trick.
Huh.
Yeah. But these take the place of straight edges and pens. Line correction, this has to do with, we won't get into that today. That has to do with the vectors, like when you make word balloons.
Right.
When you make a word balloon, it comes in and it's a vector, and you can adjust it. Same thing when you make your frames for your borders.
Mm-hmm. And the difference with a vector is that it doesn't raster out.
No,
it doesn't create those little. You can take them larger or smaller,
right?
And you're not going to get the little fuzzy edges,
right? But you do have to adjust, like in Illustrator, you do have to adjust the size of the border. They call it a border, but in Illustrator, users would call it a stroke.
Yeah. Okay.
So back in here, so we've kind of covered this. This lasso tool is probably one of the coolest things. It just.
Oh, wow.
Right. And what's really neat is that if you have a selection, right,
mm-hmm.
and you use your lasso tool, it still works.
Within the selection.
Within the selection. Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
And of course, this also works with any of the colors. So I can also, you can also erase, and you can use white, if you want.
Right.
Go back to the tools here. And then down in here, like I said, polygon, ellipse, rectangle. Let's talk about rulers really quick. There's figure rulers, where let's take a rectangle. And again, start from center, adjust angle after fixed, like we talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go on an angle. Now, the thing about rulers is that you can have your tools snap to those lines. And even if I'm over here, right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But what's cool is it also works with pressure sensitive tool brushes like this.
Wow.
Yeah. That makes things.
That is cool.
That is really cool. And the object selection here with this tool, and then see, you can adjust these.
Oh, okay.
And the rulers are really cool. They're just really cool. And then there's the curve tools, which is the exact same premise as the figure tools, but you can make it curved. You can make it any shape you want with the curve tools.
Mm-hmm.
Special tools is where you find some really great stuff. Radial line. There, see that right there?
Mm-hmm.
Every line I draw, no matter which way I pull, will go to that center.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's how you do that's how you do radial ones. And then there's other ones in here too. Play with these parallel lines is fantastic. Actually, let me get rid of that. Parallel line, you can put it any way you want. If you hold down shift, you'll get it in 45 degrees, 90, 180, but without it, it can get it on any angle. And then every line, once your parallel line is drawn, will go in that direction.
Wow.
Even if I go to the side, see how I went this way?
Uh-huh.
It still goes with.
Goes with it.
Right. And because I have a brush that's pressure sensitive.
Right. That is cool.
I know. Isn't that really cool?
Yes.
So that's oh, you know what? I should have mentioned this. When you make a new ruler like that, one of the special ones, it makes a new layer down here, and you automatically draw on that layer. But I just kept on working. If you go up into the inks, and this layer is still on, and you go into inks, you see the ruler, it'll work through the inks layer.
Right.
Right. But just keep that in mind. Why is it still drawing? Because it's just a new layer. That's all.
Right.
And then you can do concentric circles. You could do a radial curve, curved parallel lines. You could do multiple curves. It's pretty awesome. I like it a lot. And then one I use, perspective ruler. That's another story completely. That we'll get into that later. But you can put out a whole perspective grid on your page before you even start. Symmetrical ruler. I just redid a symmetrical ruler video up on my YouTube channel. I made it a few years ago and it still works. Okay. But
there'll be a link of that down below.
Yep, sure. Good. Thank you.
Chris' channel. Yes.
Okay, I don't have any people that are straight on looking at us, but I'll just drop one in here. I use this for objects, sometimes people, but let's just put it on that angle. Okay, so you have a symmetrical ruler. That means, let's go up to the ink line. If you want to get that person's face exactly symmetrical, and let's say there's pencils here, right?
Mhm.
Everything you do on one side goes to the other.
Oh, wow.
So you want to get those eyes just right, you know.
Right.
Now you see why I hire people.
Wow.
Right. And then, you know, you want to keep there for like, what I do is I use the ruler for the eyes and the shape of the face.
Mhm.
Sometimes like ears, if the ears are showing because the hair or whatever. But when I get into like the inside, and once the eyes and stuff and the nose, if there's different shading, I turn it off and then I go in and I'll, you know, but yeah, it's a really nice little tool. What's really interesting about it is you can even change. Where is that? Oh, I don't remember where that is. There's a way to change the number of symmetric. Oh, I know what you can do. I don't know why I'm thinking you can. I don't know why I'm thinking you can change it. You can literally just take another ruler, which is what, you know, I've done that in the past. And now if you're trying to do something, too many, that's too many. If you're trying to do something, you know, different in the background or artsy, none of them are turned on. That figures. Oh, what? I see what's going on. Sorry. Okay. What? You can't do that. I was able to do that before. And merge them down. Huh. You were able to do that where you can have two of them and it would, oh, you know what? I'm thinking something else. You can have a radial line that goes to a point and symmetrical at the same time, but I guess you can't have two of the same. So there I go, everybody. I lied to you. Did I lie or was I just stupid?
You're testing. You're
just testing. You guys passed. Everyone passed. No, there is a way to change that. I'll have to look into that. But and then the rest of them are the balloon tool and then the text tool. But we'll talk about that later. These tools down here are my brushes I imported when I went from Manga Studio and I purchased and upgraded to Clip Studio Paint. I was able to drag all those brushes over. And I had like dozens of different brushes, which is funny because I don't really use those anymore because I made all new ones here.
Right.
You know, but yeah, that is a brief, very brief, fast talking rundown of the tools in Manga Studio, Clip Studio Paint.
Clip Paint, yeah. So, and it was fast. I'm sitting there going, whoa.
There's a lot in there.
Come back. Yeah, there's a lot in there. We can always come back and review.
Right. If you can also rewatch the video if you got questions.
True. If you got questions, we will. Well, actually, Chris, you have to unshare.
I am. If I can find it. There it is.
There we go. Here we go.
Hey.
Yeah. Hey, we're back. So yeah, that was the toolbar, and Chris did a great job showing us. And remember that, so we're talking mainly at this point about inks. Maybe we can catch Chris lettering a page or two, and we could jump on here and see how the lettering works.
Okay.
He cringes a little bit.
I cringe because I have no lettering. My workflow is. I tried to do the workflow the exact same way as it used to be done in the old days.
Okay.
I would get a page penciled, I would border it, I would letter it, and then I would ink it. And the first couple of issues, I inked around the lettering to save myself time because back in the day, inks were put on, the lettering was put on a page. And I think Terry Austin, I don't know if it's not, please don't get angry, Terry. Like he's watching.
Hey, Terry.
One of my favorite inkers. He's fantastic, I know. I think he said it saves 10-15% on inking time, not having to ink what's going to be underneath the word balloon.
Right.
But I did that, and then once I started promoting those first two issues, I was like, oh, that would be a great panel to share. and I had nothing there because I didn't want to share I wanted to share the artwork, and I didn't do it all.
Right.
Well, that's a tangent. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. But you still do lettering. So at some point,
yes,
when you're lettering, we'll have to jump over here and check it out.
Cool.
And if you have questions above, it would be sketch@nostalgicnetwork.com. Send us questions about anything you've seen here. If you have questions about something we can show you, we're more than welcome to research it ourselves if we don't know it, and we'll find it out. And that's sort of where these videos are going is teaching. You know, Chris and I can sit here all day and talk about cons we've done and all kinds of stuff, but we want to share what we've done over the years. And Chris is a fantastic digital inker who comes from a traditional inking background. And that's what's amazing. I've literally had artists who've seen his digital inks go, "You're lying to me." And I'm like, no, Willie, I'm not lying to you. This was digital inks, you know? So, and if you enjoy what you see, please subscribe, hit the bell if you want to be notified. Below is Chris's own channel where he does speed inking and promotes his projects, Freaks and Gods. And also below is my channel, and I'll be doing some stuff, but probably about novels. So, you know, more of that kind of stuff. Sketch Magazine's got its own site, but that's basically used for the Kickstarter. And that reminds me,
yes,
we currently have a Kickstarter running for Sketch 47. It features Bo Smith, and he talks about Wynonna Earp, taking it from comics to TV. And I just, before this one, the reason I'm a little hoarse is I did an interview with Bo, which we'll start releasing along with this video, talking about exactly that, how he created the comic, how it went from TV, and just everything. I was able to drag all kinds of stuff out of him. So it was a really good interview. So yeah, I've been talking all afternoon. So if there's other questions, other things you want to know, you know, just send us a link, drop us comments down below. We check them out. And that's it. That's all I got for this one.
Me too. That's all I got.
These are so nice.
I did go through them pretty fast.
Yeah, but they can refer back to it.
Right. Yeah.
And I think.
No, what were you saying? This is really nice. You get to sit back.
This is nice. I get to sit back and learn. I'm the student on this.
Ask some questions and make me do all the work.
Yeah, I like this. This is fun.
I don't really know if it's work though.
Maybe
I never really considered it work.
No,
you know,
we keep coming back and doing it, don't we?
I know growing up, my parents never did.
No. I don't think my wife does either. No. All right, Chris. Appreciate it. Take care.
Take care. Bye, everybody.